Morning, folks. Good morning and welcome to FYI family. How you all doing this morning? Good to have each and every one of you folks, as we say, on the live with us this morning. Good morning to you folks. It's Tuesday, the 22nd day of July already. So the time is counting down, and whether you're doing good, bad, or indifferent, folks, the time is going to pass anyhow. Grateful to have all of you on the live this morning with us. How you all doing? 68 comments already. Anthony is here, and Gideon, and Lynn Finance, and Jilly G, and Edward. All the folks turn up loud. They said joining us on YouTube especially, and then we got the folks joining us on the Blue App, Facebook. Good morning to all of you. What's in your utensil for drinking this morning? What do you guys have here? I got my little black tea here, my little black coffee tea. Good morning, Mandy and Marcy and Beverly and Tessa. Sandra Hanover. Sandra, I hear you gone from south. You gone back, I think, to the north. Where are you this morning, Sandra, in the diaspora? Good to have you, Sandra Hanover, on the live this morning. I've been minding your business just in case you hear the ringing and the talk of your name. Loretta and Linden and Brian and Marlon. Nobody can tell myself. Janice and Deborah. Good to have Siobhan on the live this morning. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear, folks. Loud and clear. How are you all doing? A very good morning to each and every one of you. Grateful to have all of you here. Diane Gibson, good to have you here this morning as well. So much happening this morning. I've been skimming through what's happening on the news. Oh, promises from the PPP, the incumbent installed regime, left, right, and center. Comments, Beverly and Audrey and Tracy, and Lynette, Shahadio. Good to have all of you folks. I hope that you guys are fired up and ready to go. If the campaign is coming near you, sign up, help with the walkabout, help with the knocking on doors, attend the rallies, attend the whistle stop, attend the street corner meetings. Find a way to be involved. And folks, we can't say it enough how much we need your own love and support at this end. And look, you see, people always get this impression somehow it's a whole big set of money and so on we get in. Look, if at the end of the month people send us $200 US to send us plenty. If this, I know some of y'all rock back and say, oh, y'all got some big numbers on this show. Y'all must be making 5,000-10,000 US a month. You ain't making 500 US. You ain't even making 200 US. proper. Y'all know we've been always been frank about these things. And y'all know November comes is 5 years rather, we've been out here. Yep, November. 5 years we've been out here talking to you guys, pressing the issues. And we need your love and support as we did then. We need it now, especially in this political season where we got to be point A, point B, moving, folks, and bring you guys the valid and credible information. We got some other outdoor some activities coming up in the hinterland and different places in this country, New Amsterdam and so on. And happy to have all of you folks on board, Troy Boville, Onika King, Richard Beacon, and all of you folks. We went to Bartica last weekend, and then we came out, had the rally in Melanie on Sunday afternoon, and had a fantastic time. Had a tremendously fantastic time, and still reflecting, folks. Still reflecting. And see, Wendy Andrews says, "Wow, it's a lot of years." Wendy, believe it or not, I remember we were winding down on the election. What do you call it? The recount updates we were doing. Randy, Chris, and I, we were winding down on that. And my wife had just had a baby, and I said to the fellas, look, she was going back out to work, and I had to do my part. So I have to hold with child until she gets off, and then I could do something. She just had a baby throughout the campaign, largely pregnant the last time, just had a baby. And I said, well, I got to go and help out now. But in the evenings, I'll have some free time once she comes home and she gets a couple of minutes to herself. By 8 o'clock, I'm going to be free, and I'll do something. I can pick up from that end from home. And that's how In the Ring was born. November, remember, we went into the government was sworn in on the second day of August. We were in Parliament by the September. And then we coming down. By November, the In the Ring program was born. 5 years. This November, we're out here. And I wanted to make the larger point with my wife and the children and all the story. The larger point I want to make that we've been out here for 5 years. And every cent you have committed to us, you all see what we've done. Every single week, day, month, year, we've been out here committed to bringing you folks credible and valid information. That's what I really wanted to get at. Not the wife and the child and the pregnancy. 5 years. And listen, let me tell you this. Maud and Sabine and Brian and Tanika, when we started, I didn't know 5 years later I'd still be here. We were just playing it by ear. We heard people saying we don't know what's happening and we don't know and we didn't hear nothing. We say, you know what? I got a little skill set. I went to UG for style, did communications at the undergraduate level, read for law, always passionate about communication. Said I'm gonna do something. And say I'm gonna 5 years from now I can we didn't make that boast. Right? But just taking the days as they come. And look, we're here still. Good morning to each and every one of you. So the short of that is, folks, donate our broadcast. Donate our broadcast. Right? We need to keep going. We got to keep the lights on and the internet working to be able to do this for you. Right? Listen, we pay about $30,000 for business internet. We pay a premium because we don't want to be on the thing buffering, cutting out, it canking out. Right? We pay about $30,000 a month for business internet. And then to be able to be outside and to be broadcasting, we came to you live from what do you call it, Bartica, when we were outside over the weekend. And we could only do that because we put systems in place to be able to broadcast live from outside. That's another $25,000, $30,000 that's costing us. So for internet alone per month now, we're paying $60,000. Y'all understand that? This is not up. No, this is not AFC. This is us. We got to raise that money just for internet. $60,000. That's 300 US. Right? And you're making 300 US. People are sending you 300 US consistently on a monthly basis. You understand? I've eased up on this because we don't want to always come crying to you and seeming hand to mouth. But we got to bridge it. We got to bridge it, you know, and that's just internet. You got to get out there. You got to go left, go right. You know, who pays for the studio space? Who pays for the lights that keeps it all going? Right? But I don't want to dwell on that for long. I'm just making the intervention that we need your intervention to keep going. And I really want to thank those folks who've been with us. You're stuck with us through the 5 years. You've been giving to our broadcast. You all know we need to enlarge. We don't go for the Wagyu and Marriott and all that. You know, everything people send to us, go back to our broadcast. Go back to our broadcast. And that is why we've been able to do what we have done. Because we've been preparing for this time, preparing for the this election cycle, and being able to be out there and still be in contact with you guys in real time. So I want to really thank all of you who have supported us. As I said, we're coming off of a very beautiful rally in Melanie, you know, a fantastic rally in Melanie, folks. And let me tell you all this. Let's pull aside a little because this thing can drop in my face. Melanie was loud. See? Melanie, I give myself some space so you can see the graphic good. Melanie was loud. And I loved every moment of it. You know? And y'all know y'all boy Ganesh disgusting, eh? Melanie is where y'all boy Ban 007 he resides. I mean, he was just, you could reach out and touch where he's living from where the rally was executed. You know, where the rally happened. That's what I was aiming for. You know, you can reach out. Melanie was loud. You know, and y'all know Ganesh disgusting. Ganesh couldn't let the moment pass.
At this crowd, I believe James Bond living in the toilet. And the diarrhea gonna last for all night tonight.
Ganesh wasn't having it. Yeah, living in his toilet. Melanie was loud, folks. It was loud. It was it was awesome. It was excellent. You know, it was very, very good. It was very nice. Well, I can tell you all, Melanie was awesome. But before we get there this morning, the awesomeness of Melanie, you know, I was looking overnight, our prime ministerial candidate, Rita Finance, who I'm privileged to count as a friend, you know, a fantastic friend and confidant. You know, I was telling a colleague of mine, everything I know, Rita, know. I was telling a friend of mine, who shall not be named. I said, everything I know, Rita, I just want to be sensitive when you're giving me the information. You see? How many of you get a friend like that? And Ricky too. Everything I know. You know, it's written in with the talking. Folks, I see somebody send us a contribution via YouTube. Now, if you do that, right, while we love it because it's money nonetheless, YouTube takes a percentage of that. And then we got to wait till month 10 for them to remit it to us. You know? So we prefer if you use the link. We never had a problem with the link. Never one day had a problem with the link, right? And this is the link where you just make a one-off. And we tell you, because when we post the other link where people contribute $10 per month, we've asked that. And that is where we're doing that. I said to you about, on average, it's less than 200 US. It's far less, must be less than 100 US a month. Comes to us via that way. But I just saw the notification here that somebody made a contribution via YouTube. YouTube takes a percentage of that. If you want us to get the whole thing, use the link, right? So Ganesh is being so facetious there. And I had the privilege of being in Bartica Region 7 with our Prime Ministerial candidate, Rita Finance, over the weekend, and to see how the Barticians are so happy to see one of their own, like any township, I think would, to see one of their own rise to this level of being the Prime Ministerial candidate. And I think our Indigenous brothers and sisters too feel a sense of pride, knowing that one of their own could rise to this level. Like anybody, any ethnicity, anybody like that would feel proud, you know, would feel proud. So I was, as I said, I was looking at Rita sitting down across from Enrico Wolford just yesterday. This was published, and talking about these economic issues. You know, Drita Bright, bad. Drita went to Bartika Secondary, I think it is. Bartika Secondary, and then Drita finished off her high school education at Queen's College. I mean, she don't. Some people take transfer to Queen's College and they behave as though Queen's College is the only place they ever been. But she's so down to earth. She's not pretensive like that. You know, she'll tell you without even asking, I'm a product of Bartika Secondary School. And I think she did a year or two at Queen's College, went off to university and read economics. This is Shajam talking about economic issues. You know, this is where she likes to plant your flag and say, stand up here. I stand up here. And you all know some of the things by now you should. I hope I've been talking about them long enough. That we're proposing the commitments that we're making to the Guyanese people to raise old age pension to $100,000 a month. Right? I hope we get back to an issues-based politics, or we come to it if we haven't been there. $100,000 a month. We want to make the minimum for our public servants, salary and wages, $200,000 a month. $50,000 just as a stipend for students to go to university and to be able to focus there and not have to think about a side job to get a little transportation money, a side job to get a little snack money. $50,000 right off the bat as a stipend while we continue free education as we had it in 1992, as we continue PAP Institute tuition fee, and then they increased tuition fee in 2013, instituted it in 1992, increased it in 2013. We will keep it as being free. They've just reverted to what they meant. They didn't bring free education. They brought tuition. That's what they did. And so she understands all of these issues. And speaking recently with, as I said, Enrico Wolford, for instance, on the pension issue, he said, this pension is a lot of people. How are you going to pay for this thing, Trina? How are you going to pay for this thing? We got a lot of pensioners. How are you going to do it? And she was offering some thoughts on that front. Enrico Wolford, in his very popular and fantastic program, Context, with our provincial candidate.
Old age pension, you know, these things sound, you know why these things sound so so fanciful? Because the majority of our years from 1992 to now, we have had 28 years of the PPP in office. And what they have done is made it as though these things are impossible to do and it will actually break the bank for the government. And these things are not so. So we need to reset the way in which we think when it comes to spending and budgetary allocation. And we need to understand, for example, the old age pension, $53 billion would cater for that. $53 billion. And I just highlighted that just for capital expenditure, we are wasting $300 billion thereabout. So when it comes to where the money goes, it is a big difference. We are saying, and our entire development agenda, it's saying this is a people-centered development agenda because there is a fact that we need to be very fair and upfront about. If your citizens are being burdened by day-to-day struggles, how they feed themselves and their families, how our pensioners survive, are they relying on a family that is looking at a public servant salary? When you provide these aid, what you do is propel your economy because you're strengthening your most valuable resources, which is your human resource, to go out there and to help drive economic activities because you have removed a major burden off of their shoulders.
Yep. That is Prime Ministerial candidate Jorita Fernandes speaking so clearly, crisp to economic issues in this country. That's Shajam. You know, that's what she studied at the undergraduate level, has a degree in economics from the University of Guyana. And I always mix up whether she has a master's in public policy. I think it's in business administration or public administration. But I know she holds a master's degree also from the University of Guyana. Understand these issues. You shouldn't just jump off a tree and land on the ground. Understanding the issues. And again, on context, I heard her on the issue of Enrico Pojuhar. He said, look, the PAP say you can't manage, you can't even run a car in a shop. Right? Well, how the region, 3 people crying out for the cost of living. Come to that just now. They can't run a car in a shop, neither partly. They cannot run a car in a shop either, apparently. Right? And she didn't back down from that question. You know, as far as saying the song, don't back back. Don't back back on me, don't back back. Y'all don't know that, man. Y'all too young in this business to understand the mastery of the mighty sparrow. You know, she didn't back down. Right? Y'all can't manage nothing. Just say, look how he managing. Look at all the nice time, how he managing. Take a look. Context with Enrico Wolford and our Prime Minister candidate with the finance of the APNU coalition.
Address where that is coming from, and that is coming from the VP of the country. And I would say this much: the person that is speaking about not managing the economy properly, and these plans bankrupting the country and all of those things, that is the same person that sits on a government that borrows money while we have oil resources pumping in, that have accelerated their borrowings to a point that they are borrowing against projected oil revenues that we do not even have as yet, that they expect to come in, and they have not even considered the volatility in oil prices. So when those persons speak, they speak these things, they send a message, a narrative that they want to paint to their support base. But if their supporters are to be honest, they would realize that they have not been managing the economy prudently. And one important thing, Enrico, that we have to touch on is how they have been managing, or the lack of good management of the Natural Resource Fund. What the PPP administration has been doing is directly, as money goes into the NRF, they withdraw to spend. As it go in, they withdraw to spend. They have not been looking at or have created an investment portfolio that the NRF is going to be investing money so that you will be maximizing the actual resources that goes into that fund. We have an investment committee, and if there was one thing that was ventilated in the media, is the fact that that investment committee is not functioning. So they cannot speak about good management when they have been the worst at managing the NRF fund and the economy altogether.
Yeah, don't come around with funny. That's what we say. Don't do it. Don't come around with funny. You see, you telling us that based on our costing for our projects and our proposals, we have that. We don't shy from reporters in saying what our policies and our programs are and how we've costed them. You gotta cost them. You gotta find the money for them. How are you finding the money? You gotta state that. You gotta state that we're getting the money from. And that's her jam right there. She could sit down and talk about the whole day, the whole day. But folks, as she talked about that, although they're saying y'all are depending on oil money, not factoring in the volatility of oil prices. And here is our Prime Minister candidate with the financing. But then y'all doing the same thing. Y'all borrowing against projected oil income, but accusing us, you see, of doing what you're doing. There's the hypocrites for you. There's the hypocrites for you, good folks. So again, rebuffing that whole notion that you all can manage. We got the plans, we got the proposals. Day one, a number of things are going to be different. But as I said, folks, Melanie was loud on Sunday, and I want to jump straight there because Ganesh made an important point about the lies of the PPP, about the promises of the PPP that have not been fulfilled, that have not been delivered at all. Only Ganesh can say these things the way he says them. Our who is arguably going to be one of our youngest vice president. youngest persons to hold such an executive position in our government. They're just 35 years young. Ganesh at Melanie on Sunday afternoon, speaking to the issues, I think, of all the failed promises of the PPP.
Tell you, if Ozempic makes you slim, lying and foolish, I prefer to be fat and honest. I prefer to be fat and everything up here intact. Let me tell you, Ozempic has caused them to lie so many times that I will only deal with 4 lies tonight. 4 lies. Lie number 1 from the People's Progressive Party. They are all around the country and they are fooling Guyanese. They are saying that they have delivered on everything that they promised in their 2020 manifesto. Have you heard that? They are trying to play with our minds, but we are not on Ozempic, and we know that they have not delivered on everything that they promised. And I went to my computer. People thought I was coming up with an entire book to read. But what I did was to print off their manifesto, their 2020 manifesto. And I can tell you, starting from page 12, they said that they will work with miners and their organizations to remove obstacles to their development. You just Google Marudi Mountain and you will see what small miners are going through there, because they give the work to a big one we consider as friend, family, and favorite. So that promise was never delivered. A big lie. In the sugar industry, they said that they will work to solve the problems of the industry as a whole by firstly bringing the industry to break-even status and then to profitability by ensuring better management and greater efficiency. Is the sugar industry breaking even? Promise not delivered. In the rice industry, they said that they will expand existing markets and secure new ones for rice and paddy. Promise not delivered. They said they will explore a price stabilization revolving fund facility for farmers. Promise not delivered. They said that they will promote agricultural diversification with special focus on coconut ethanol, aqua farm, and that is a promise not delivered. They said they will promote an agri-energy industry producing bioethanol through sugarcane, palm oil, cassava, and corn. Promise not delivered. They said they will expand the production of import substitution crops. Promise not delivered. They said incentivize young people to pursue a career in agriculture and create training opportunities at tertiary level to support them. Promise not delivered. They said that they will provide a support system for small grants to livestock farmers. Promise not delivered. They said they will provide appropriate breeding stock, training and facilities for cutting, packaging, and storage of meat. Promise not delivered. They said they will minimize conflicts between livestock farmers and crop farmers through zoning. Promise not delivered.
You all heard Ganesh laying it out there? Laying it out in facts. Reading from the manifesto. And they claim they finish. So we exhaust the manifesto. You know? We exhaust. Well, folks, now it's promise season. More promises are being made. Promises left, right, and center. Promises like you never had promises before. You know, trying to comfort us with promises. Who's sharing in life this party? Huh? And you get them by another chance. 5 years from now, we got another script. Promises not delivered. Promises not delivered. Everything being promised that can be promised right now. When you look at it, like what have you done in the last 5 years? What have you actually done in the last 5 years? Now he's promising since Jurid announced this in Bartik over the weekend, a small and 200 million fund for small and medium-sized businesses. But only if you re-elect me. Billions of dollars later, trillions of dollars, as a matter of fact, as we become a $1 trillion economy, trillions of dollars later, now you come and say you want a 200 million fund for small and medium-sized business. You see? This is already out there. But only if you vote me back, eh? I couldn't do it in the last 5, having all this money, and because I care. But no, hear this. Friday afternoons will be for sports and recreation at schools. Like, that's how I went to school. Who knocked that out? Friday afternoons when you got back after lunch, you know you were heading on the field, right? You didn't just wake up one day and go and learn for march or to run. They came and met that. Friday afternoons were dedicated to sporting activities in your school. But just like how they knocked out free tuition, they lash out that, you know, their attitude to break down, dismantle, is not informed by any studies. They just wake up and they say, well, I can't, may never do all this here. But now they come back, right? Friday afternoons will be for sports. You see? It's a no-brainer, right? No-brainer. I saw even PP supporters are complaining about some things coming on the pipeline. You see, as I was telling Bartika, they might give you ideas, but they cannot work them, execute them the way you could. They came into government in 2020, installed however they came in. They saw the plans for the new Harbour Bridge. We put in the architecture for them to benefit, for country to benefit from the oil and gas resources. And the money start pouring in their iteration of government. The money start pouring in, the oil money under them, thanks to the Granger administration that put in the financial architecture in the Natural Resource Fund that they are abusing. You see? And so they had the money pouring in. The studies were already being done for the new Demerara Harbour Bridge, and they capitalized. But they can't work it the way you'd work it. And that's why I said, I saw lots of their supporters crying out, oh God, the traffic backing up by this roundabout on Jumpy Board Road, aka Heroes Highway, and making the point that if the bridge ain't even open yet and spewing traffic onto this Jumpy Board Road, imagine if backup gonna happen when the bridge open. And you got how much? 4 lanes of traffic being emptied on Heroes Highway to compound the bottlenecks that currently happening. Jagyo them says, no, Brenner, we need no study, right? And the implications and the impacts. They said that. That's what they said. We need no studies. And so their own supporters, I saw pointing out and lamenting the fact that I stuck in traffic here for 3 hours trying to get one kilometer or something like that. 3 hours. Right? But y'all don't like order. Y'all don't like studies and so on. Or else should never be giving you support. We're giving you support. But the issue zone, we're talking about just all the promises. Listen to this. 5 years after and trillions of dollars later, hinterland schools to be equipped with science labs. So what are we doing for the last 5 years in a $1 trillion economy? No, hinterland schools will be equipped with science labs. My God, no. But you got to vote me back. You see? You got to vote me back. And we can do it now. Right? We can do it now. But vote me back. Yeah, let's watch these people carefully. You all heard all the things Ganesh rattled up there. Not delivered. Watch them and the promises. Right? Watch them and the promises and watch them very carefully. Watch them and the promises, and as I said, watch them very, very carefully. Very carefully. So I had lied. Your girl Gita, Chandran Edmonds. Right? So Gita. I'll tell you a story this morning as on Gita. I don't think I've told it to this extent before, but I'll tell you this morning. I'll tell you this morning. Gita said in this headline, I'm back at home. I'm back at home with the PPP. I'm back at home. Right? Very few people who leave the PPP don't go back. Right? Some people leave because the going is good. You see? Like a new government comes in and then they slip over and say, I vote for y'all. See, I say, yes, you're sorry for them. You see, all of these Guyanese. Right? You're sorry for them. You say, well, all of these Guyanese. All right, man, you got a space over here. You take them in. Right? Back home, some big businessman as well recently. He said, I never really left. Y'all better be wise out here. All the people who run out because they fall out with somebody on that side. Right? They might even start a political party. Y'all better watch them. I tell y'all of a truth. Within 2 years, y'all will see some people who left. Say, I'm back home. And I giving you the longer end. I think it'll be less than 2 years. For some of them who left the PPP to say going back home. Right? I want to touch on 2 other things as I'm here with the going back home. I want to tell 2 things. I was a director on Chronicle board. I was a director on the board. I studied communication, mass communication at the University of Guyana and passed and graduated. Communication studies. I studied it. Right? And when I got on the board of Chronicle, they realized you could be impactful to this organization. You can be an impact to this organization, and we are going to elevate you to a general manager. Gita was the board chairman. The life of the board came to an end when I became general manager. As a matter of fact, the last board meeting appointed me general manager of not Chronicle. It's called Guyana National Newspapers Limited. It's a company of which Chronicle is one of the entities managed by this company called GNNL, Guyana National Newspapers Limited. Right? So Chronicle fell under my purview as being general manager for GNNL. Right? The life of the board came to an end. I had 2 desires. Right? Work hard, one, and make the government look good. I have continued that in opposition. I had continued that. I've continued that in opposition. Work hard and make your team look good. I've continued that. Y'all tell me if I've been slacking. I come into something. I was a single father. I used to go home after work about 4 or 5 o'clock, do homework with my son and so on, make sure they sit in there and so on, and then I gone back to the company. Right? Put in a couple more hours. They got to term in newspapers. They got to put the paper to bed. I used to walk between the editor-in-chief office and the newsroom. Walk to where they're doing the proofreaders are. You know? Not interrupting people, just making sure everything running smooth. Day after day. Sometimes 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I going home to come back for 8 o'clock. Because I want to clock in as a staff. Me want to come in like a big boy 11 o'clock in the day. Because remember I told y'all 2 things I wanted to do. Work hard for my government, for my team, and make them look good. I think it was a Saturday. I was in at work and I saw this headline. $5 million misappropriated from Chronicle. $5 million misappropriated. Now, because of what was in this article, right? The spending by the general manager. Now, I never sign a check. Never sign a check. Right? Never sign a check. I misappropriated the money. When we did our investigation, I learned that a couple days earlier, the former board member, the former board chairman, Gita Chandran Edmonds, had requested from the finance controller a list of the spending, a list of my spending, or the spending of the company, right? And there was a process, as you know, in the public sector, for spending to happen. She requested and was supplied with information. Gita Chandran Edmonds, she was by this time the past board chairman. She was supplied with this information. Let's say she was supplied with this information on the Thursday. The article came out on the Saturday. The article came out on the Saturday. I want to make 2 points here. 2 points. A lot of people had gone over. You remember when Jagdio was opposition leader and I always got inside information what happening in the government? What allegedly happening in the government, or what was happening in the government? What you gone over? You think they went over last week? Jagdio always seem to have inside information. But I want to show y'all something. I knew that when they signed me up as an MP, I knew I had to work with Gita. But for the good of the team, I put aside that. Knowing that this was the lady. You hear me? I put aside that. When Gita was drunk in the National Assembly, we covered Gita's shame. Gita sit down on the floor outside National Assembly, vomit up. Drunk like a fish. And we protected our sister. And that lady said, I gone back home. Stood up in the National Assembly, her words slurring. The chief whip, quick thinking, intervened. Got her off the floor. By the time you took her upstairs out the door, vomit. The only time I see somebody vomit so much is in the Exorcist movie. We covered a lady's shame. Stabbed me in my back at Chronicle How come in 5 years, if I had stolen money from the state, the people never brought a case against me? Y'all take sense out of nonsense. The bots and the trolls on the live. If I had stolen money from Chronicle, how come in 5 years I ain't got a fraud case that was brought against me? And the people like me. They like me. And I put aside that. Gita was on the team, and I said, I can work. I know Gita must be drunk. I can work with Gita because she's a team member. Put aside past differences. Gita said, I gone back home. She do she damage now. So when you're all wondering, right? Some people don't cross over, they always went over. Or then cross over now. It's long the gun. It's long the gun. Right? It's long the gun. I said 2 points I wanted to make as I was touching on this issue. Then Mark France just dissolved Anug, or Anug was absorbed into Win. So Mark France at a PP rally over the weekend. Yes. What in this country? Mark France at a PP rally. Right? Jack, your brother-in-law, Mark France. This is really on the restless politics, Mark France from Anug is Jack, your brother-in-law. But when somebody said he was at a PP rally, I said, well, maybe the man went just to carry a message to brother-in-law from his sister. You never know. You see? He just carried a little message. He didn't went for the rally per se. The man come out from the PPP. He say he would win. He at the PP rally. Right? The people say he gone over. So now, folks, for a lot of people that come out of the PPP, the issue of going back home, right? It's just a matter when. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when. The whole issue of going back home, who fall out and fall in and fall sideways. I given some people but 2 years. I given some people but 2 years. And 2 years, I tell you all, that's the long end. They're going back. It's just a matter of when. But I want you all to know this. When it happens, I can laugh some of y'all to scorn. I just want y'all to know it coming. Right? Some of y'all have gone and say, oh, something different and a fresh wind here and this and I am prepared. I am prepared to laugh y'all to scorn. You see? It's just a matter when. So I watching y'all. I am watching y'all. It is written already. Right? It's just a matter of when. And we could rattle off the names of the people who step away and say, no, I gone back home. You see, you do your damage. You backstab enough. You leak enough information. There's nothing more to be done. I gone back home. Good for you. Right? Your party will lose. It will crash and burn. And then I can laugh you to scorn. I'll be here laughing. Right? I can love the statesmanship and the elite sportsmanship to those folks to whom it belongs. I can laugh you out to scorn. I just want you to know that. Savage Dish, Yvonne and Neon Harding, have a song there. I just want to know. I can laugh you out to scorn. It's not matter if people going back. It's a matter when. You think you could have a lover that you've been enamored with, that you've invested with, and in one day you could just go cold turkey, you could turn your emotions off. You think in one day you could do that? You may not tell your spouse. Look, I still think, but the person you're with currently, you may not tell them. Oh, I think about a little bit every now and again. But you know, you could hear a song. You could smell a fragrance. You could be in a place, you know, that takes you right back there like nothing ever happened. Because you know why? Memories don't live like people do. You see, you could tell me one day you just think, oh, you're angry now. I understand that. You're lashing out. I can see that. But when the dust settles, oh my God, it's right back you go, you know. I see it already. I see it already. I'm going to go see my dentist, Dr. Shaw, whatever his name is. Take a full clean up so I can laugh you all to scorn and open my mouth as wide as possible. So it's not a matter if, good folks, it's a matter of when. But I really want to spend some time on our, before I talk out of your business, let's talk your own business, how Melanie the loan. And we had out there former Deputy Commissioner of Police, Paul Williams. And I felt like a son that Paul Williams was talking to as an elder in the community, right? Who say you're doing nonsense. Not them parents who you and your children, you're only same dance hall. Right? You're only same dance hall. I'm talking about serious parents. You've earned the right in your child's life to say you're doing nonsense. Right? You've talked to your children so long after you come out their lives in that way, they still hear your instruction. I hear my pastor in my head like that. I spent what? 16, 17, 20 years at a church. I know all the jokes. I know all the stories. Right? I can hear the sermons in my head. I haven't fully gone back to church fully since COVID, like every Sunday. Since COVID. I hear his sermons clear in my head. That's how I heard Paul Williams speaking. Like a father talking to a child and say, doing nonsense. What kind of blood money business y'all involved in? And Paul has earned that place. He said, don't be bought out with blood money. He know what he's talking about as a former senior policeman. They know who earning with blood money their wealth in this life. When you see a little thing flashing, or you come up poor, you grow poor, you don't want to be poor no more because you got all this oil. And you think somehow if you just associate, somehow that makes you a billionaire. Right? You don't want flambeau no more, you want Lambo. You see? So if you only associate, somehow you're projecting. You're wealthy too. Some of you are going after blood money. Right? Deputy Commissioner of Police, former, Melanie over the weekend, making this point.
Allow yourself to be bought because that money, it is blood money. It is wicked money. And it will never ever do anything for you to prosper. It will make you look good today, but sad for the rest of your life. Let us change that focus. Let us bring back Guyana to the Guyana that we know. We're going to ensure that there are reform in the police force. There are numerous things already there that can work, but the system chooses not to work them. I've walked the streets, and I've seen ranks who were trained, who the American invested in, who the British invested in, who the Canadian invested in. And all those people, since this government came into power, those people are being placed to walk the streets and all over when they're supposed to be there taking care of crime, monitoring the cameras, good crime investigators and all those things. And those who they have is those who can sing and dance to their tune. The force still has good people, but they are not the people who are being placed in the position to serve you. The people who they put to serve you is the people who can support them violating your rights, doing you the wrong things. And you have to stop it. You have to stop it. You have to stop it. The power is in your hands. The power is in your hands. So, my people, there are lots of things that you know. And listen to me. The social media, it is very, very good. It is a very good thing. But the thing is that it's what you find interest in using it for. This is a season you need to use it to give you the right guidance and decision. It's not for you to go on there and blackguard yourself and talking foolish things and get yourself mixed up where they're going to want to charge you with cybercrime. Every person that is being charged and taken away is a vote less for us because you see who they're coming after. Be smart. Be smart. Don't let in any trap. Don't. So when you see people go on there and they try to chastise us and they say, AP and you can't do nothing, AP and you can't what? You don't get yourself into any battle. All you have to do is take these same burdens and things and you play it back and show them. This is what AP and you can do because we don't buy votes. We don't pay people to come to rally. People come because this is where they want to be. This is who they want to make the change. And this is who they're going to support. So you going to use this. You're going to use this situation. And coming from September 1st, all the way, you're going to celebrate and you're going to show them that you've made the right decision. And Guyana is going to restore to the place it ought to.
Pace and power. Pace and power. Don't be bought out with blood money. And then he spoke also about how we empower young people and that we ought to empower them. Don't cast them aside. You know, these school dropouts, the what. How are we going to empower them? Former Deputy Commissioner of Police, Paul Williams, Dr. Paul Williams.
Young people out in the street, all of them can't be good at books. All of them can't make 5, 6, and 7, 8, CX or 15. But if you put them to use their hands, they can make good out of that. But listen to me. They very well knew what they were doing. Because this is to what they want to bring you to the lowest ebb of the production chain. Let me tell you something. We got more laborers than we can ever imagine. Some of our people, young people, who should have been signing their names are using thumbprints. Using their thumbprints. That's what they're using. They can't sign the name. And it was never ever been like that. Wherever the school fell down or wherever in discipline by children, we had the national service. Used to take you up, maul you, reform you, and send you back into society. This government, destroy it, shut it down, shut it down. I'm a national service product, and I know what it's capable of. It's going to teach you patriotism. It's going to teach you what it is about nationalism. It's going to teach you what it is to stand up and die for your country. It's going to teach you when you see the flag of Guyana, how to love it, how to fight for it, and how to die for it. But they don't want that. They don't want that. But listen to me. Listen to me. If you people don't know, the PVP get back in power, they are planning to bring in their labor force to take over. So I don't know which stage you will end up in if they go back in power. Because they're bringing in their labor force. So you have to ensure that that don't happen. You have to ensure that that don't happen. They're saying, I see some people saying, look, the Spanish people taking over our jobs and these things and so on. But listen to me. Listen to me. We have an industry that dealing in a massive way with housing, roads, and all these things and so on. And on the basis of how it is being pushed, it is value for money for them. They're not catering for apprentices. They're not catering for trainees. They're not catering for persons who can come now and stand in and learn. They want to ensure that when you come, you could deliver for the money. Otherwise, you either come and you clean up or you pick up and you go. That's it. How can we come to the level of skills if we're not given the opportunity or being trained? And they don't care about that because that is where they want you. They want you to be security guards. They want you to stand up and guard them and look at them when the night come. You have to ensure that we change that. You will have to ensure that you vote APNU September 1st. You've heard from previous speakers all the opportunities available for you and your children. And don't let this slip away from you. Don't let this slip away from you. This is the time. And I'm appealing to you. Wake up, Guyana. Wake up. Wake up. Vote PANU and let your leader be Compton Aubrey Norton.
Making the argument so clear, where we are and where we need to be as a people. And as we wrap up, I heard him mention land, and that's one of the issues that was raised by our prime ministerial candidate and our presidential candidate, Rita Finance and Aubrey Norton, respectively. Raised by them. It's a very important issue too. A very important issue because while the people are saying, oh, we've given out this amount of land and so on, folks, if it's true, let's hazard that they're right. They've given out, they made 50,000 land allocations. It's just that. Right? 49,999. Ain't no the land there. Ain't no the land there. It's jungle blocks. It's jungle allocations. No road, no light, no water, no infrastructure. That's why they're carrying the Jumbotron and they're showing you on the screen. Look, yeah, the back here. On the screen, it look nice. But when you're looking at the actual land, I seen is bush and jungle, reptiles and snakes and chimpanzees in the trees swinging. Jungle allocation. That's what's happening. Drita spoke about that. And Mr. Norton spoke about that as well. I want you to listen to Drita first. And we'll end our program this morning on that high note of listening to our presidential candidate for the APNU coalition talk about these issues. And Drita also coupled talking about land with indigenous rights, and saying so clearly as only she can that indigenous lives matter. Right? From the carbon credits, our people should be getting, our first people should be getting more. How are we going to put them first? Right? How come we don't have any indigenous on any significant scale, millionaires and billionaires, right? How come more of them are not mobile? They don't have those dreams too? Prime Ministerial candidate Rita Finance on her feet just a couple nights ago at Melanie and that rally on the East Coast.
We have painted and accepted an image that was painted for us by these people. It is time for us to stand up and say, we want to be a part of a Guyana that is for all. We want to see our children and their children benefit. We want to build a business class of indigenous peoples. We want to make sure that the benefits that we are laying out reaches every section of this society. When we talk about the housing program, we want to make sure that that housing program is not just on the coastline. It is not only in Georgetown. It is not only in Linden. It is in Potentia. It is in Maruka. It is in Bartica. We want to make sure that all of Guyana benefit from the resources, and we are going to put Guyana to work because we have the capacity. We have the people. We have people with the will, with the resilience, and we are going to make sure we empower you so that you will be able to determine your own future. I want to tell you, there is something called carbon credits, and I'm going to go a little fast with this. The carbon credits is being collected by this country, and the PPP administration is paying 15% of that money to the indigenous communities. But guess what? Under the stewardship of Aubrey Compton Norton, a policy was developed, and now those carbon credits will be increased to 50%, and it will not only be going to the communities and the heads of those communities, but now I am proud to say that every indigenous family will be receiving those monies directly, because this is your time for self-determination. We believe that it is your right to determine how you want to craft your future, and we will empower you to do so because this is your time. We will increase when it comes to health care. The indigenous communities are the poorest when it comes to health care. No medication, poor staffing. Sometimes there's one medic if we're lucky. When it comes to the school system, it is in shambles. We cannot accept that. And I want to touch on something as I wrap up here tonight. We had a situation over the last couple of days, several situations, but the two most recent. We had a situation in which a young woman was sexually assaulted. And we had persons videoing that. A young woman was raped, and we had persons videoing that. I want to tell you this tonight. As a people, we have got to wake up. You have got to wake up. Fathers, wake up. Mothers, wake up. At the level of parliament, we had a breakdown in the moral fabric of our society. We have seen and heard the most violent, atrocious, and derogatory things being done when it comes to how women is treated in parliament. And today, we see that being translated into the society. We have got a team of people that does not stand for that. You have got to value yourselves, value your children. This is an important message. While we give condolence also to the family of the young woman that was murdered, I call out the PP administration that has done absolutely nothing to remedy the situation of domestic violence.
Yeah, and that is true. They've contributed to it. They have contributed to it. If anything, and as I said, I want to end on a very, even higher note. The leader of the APNU coalition, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton, making the similar issue, in particular with land in this country, bush, jungle allocations, jungle. You got to go and chop and this and that to get a place in some semblance of order to do your own stuff on it. Right? Sunday night, Melanie.
If it's a crime, it's a crime to live in 83,000 square miles. You hear the right figure, Hicken? I hope you can listen. 83,000 square miles, and our people cannot get land. They said They were going to deliver 50,000 house lots. They failed. Every day you meet people who tell you they apply since 2004 and cannot get land. We are going to do some critical things in the housing sector. We said we're going to do the rent to own, so that those who don't have the funds to get a mortgage will be able to access a house. We will also develop a house repairs program in which poor people will be able to access resources to do repairs to your house. A house is an asset, and if it continues to deteriorate, it loses value. And so as a government, we are obligated to working with people to ensure that the value of property doesn't go down, it keeps going up. And from that standpoint, we will help the people of Guyana. They are crying out that teachers are leaving, nurses are leaving, and they claim to be training more. But you don't train a teacher in 2 years. When you lose people with 10 years experience, 15 years experience, you are losing a lot. So what is needed is not just a program to train teachers and nurses, but a program to retain them. And I'm saying to you, we will give them a livable wage. We will do housing for them so that they would want to stay in Guyana. That is what we mean when we say we are a people-centered government. And if you, the people, want to benefit, you have no other choice than to vote for the palm. Put your X next to the palm. I want you to look at the quality of candidates we have. We're talking about no reject from no political party. We're talking about people who the only bond is money. You know, there got some people, the only bond they got is money. We're talking about that. We are talking about quality people that can manage this country. You saw the young talent on display. We have one of the most inclusive themes in this race. And I said to you, I believe the people will vote based on policies, and if they're voting based on policies and programs, they all will vote APNU. My friends, this government is a mess. I noticed some of them running around behind people who used to finance the Phantom Squad. Let me remind you, if you have short memory, you will make mistakes. I won't call name, but all and sundry in this country, they know that the Phantom Squad that killed out our young people were financed by some big businessmen, some of whom now claiming to be priests. I say to you, they are beasts. You cannot murder our young people and then come as if you're a priest. I will say this to you. Look at all the irregularities in this country. Some of them celebrating how rich they are. They are rich at the expense of you. If I thief from you 900 million, I just choosing a figure, and then I come back for give you a little house, little benefit, and that add up to 30 million. It meant that if you didn't do what you did, our people will be better off.
Yep. Shots fired, folks. Shots fired. Let us leave it there this morning. Let us leave it there. We're going to see you guys back on our next broadcast. We've got so much to share with you all. We didn't have a chance to talk about yesterday's edition of the Starbuck News, how the cost of living affecting you article that talked about Region 3 residents. Oh God, they're bawling and they're crying out. I wanted to go into that this morning. My God, the cost of living sky high, what people are paying in the marketplace for item. I think we published an article on it earlier. I want to leave that with you for your homework. You can go through that in your own time. Thanks to all of you who contributed to our program this morning. We're leaving that link with you folks that you can click. It's very secure, very extremely secure. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. We're going to see you guys in the next broadcast. That's our time for today, folks. That's our program. Stay safe. We love each and every one of you. Take care. We're going to see you guys at the end of it. On the other side of the day. Take care. Please and thanks.